Two companies, same industry, same billion-dollar hype. And by the end of this year, they could both be the biggest IPOs in American history, bigger than SpaceX, which just made Elon Musk the world's first trillionaire. I'm talking about OpenAI and Anthropic. And if you've been anywhere near financial Twitter or Reddit lately, you've seen the fight already. Which one's the better bet? Which one goes public first? Which one's going to make early investors filthy rich? But here's the thing nobody's telling you up front. You can't actually buy either one right now, not unless you're already sitting on $1 million. So before you pick a side, let's talk about what's actually going on, because the real story here is way messier than pick a winner. Let's start with the one everybody already knows, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Sam Altman, the company that basically put AI on your grandma's radar. OpenAI confidentially filed a draft S-1 registration statement with the SEC in the summer of 2026, working with Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley, the same banks that ran the SpaceX deal. And the number being thrown around? A late 2026 public listing, with the company reportedly wanting to beat rival Anthropic to the punch. Now here's your first plot twist. Reuters reported that OpenAI might actually push the whole thing to 2027, and that delay talk caused prediction markets to tank for anything betting on a 2026 listing. So even the people closest to this deal don't fully agree on when it's happening. That's not me being dramatic, that's literally what's in the reporting. And Anthropic, the Claude AI company, backed by Amazon and Google, they actually moved first. On June 1st, 2026, Anthropic officially announced it had confidentially submitted a draft S-1 to the SEC. Same day, they closed a funding round that valued the company at $965 billion. Let that sink in. Not million, not even 100 billion. $965 billion. And they're not even public yet. So here's loop number one for you. Two companies, both filed confidentially, both could be the biggest tech IPO ever, and neither one has told the public an actual date. That's not an accident, that's strategy, and it matters more than you think. Because here's what everybody's actually asking me. Okay, cool, when do I get to buy in? And I gotta be straight with you, right now, you don't. To buy pre-IPO shares through platforms like Forge, you need to be an accredited investor, meaning a net worth over $1 million, not counting your house, or an income of at least $200,000 a year. So, unless you're already rich, you're stuck waiting for the actual public listing, just like the rest of us regular folks. But let's say you get in once it's public. Which one actually makes you money? This is where it gets spicy, because both of these companies are hemorrhaging cash. I mean, seriously bleeding. OpenAI is projecting $14 billion in losses for 2026 alone, with cumulative losses potentially hitting $115 billion by 2029. And get this, the company isn't expected to turn a profit until sometime in the 2030s. So somebody explain to me how a company loses that kind of money and still gets valued anywhere close to $1 trillion. That's not a rhetorical question. That's literally the debate happening on Wall Street right now. Here's your shift, though, the part that changes how you should be thinking about this whole thing. Anthropic's story is actually a little different. According to Deutsche Bank analysts, Anthropic has an easier pathway to profitability than OpenAI. And get this, subscription growth for Anthropic's Claude has grown nearly 7-fold this year compared to OpenAI's subscription growth of only 18% in the same period. So, while OpenAI got the bigger name and the bigger user base, Anthropic might actually have the better business fundamentals underneath the hood. Now let's talk about the word everybody's scared to say out loud, bubble, because Reuters, not some random blogger, actual Reuters, already called a potential OpenAI IPO the mother of all meme stock initial public offerings. Think about that phrase for a second. Meme stock, like GameStop, like AMC. That's the level of retail hype and volatility they're predicting here. And we already got a preview of what that looks like. Remember SpaceX? Stock peaked over $225 a share within days of going public, then dropped in 3 straight trading sessions after that. That's not a stable long-term investment pattern. That's a roller coaster, and a lot of regular investors got on that ride at the top. So, which one actually makes you richer? Honestly, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you, nobody knows yet, and anyone telling you they do is selling you something. What I can tell you is this: OpenAI got the brand recognition, the consumer reach, the everybody's heard of ChatGPT factor. That's the kind of stock that pops hard on day one because retail investors pile in on hype alone. Anthropic got the better unit economics, the faster subscription growth, and, according to the reporting, an easier road to actual profit. That's the kind of stock that might not spike as hard out the gate, but could be the steadier long-term hold. One more thing before you go make any decisions here, and this is important. Neither company has released a public prospectus, set a share price, or confirmed a listing date. Everything we just talked about could shift in the next 30 days. So if you're serious about either one of these stocks, don't just watch one video and call it research. Track the actual SEC filings. Watch for when that confidential S1 goes public. That's when the real numbers come out, the ones that aren't filtered through a press release. Here's my honest take, and then I'll let you go. This isn't really a question of which stock makes you richer. It's a question of what you're actually betting on. That on OpenAI, you're betting on brand power and consumer dominance. That on Anthropic, you're betting on business fundamentals and a safer runway to profit. Neither one's guaranteed. Both of them could crash 30% in a week like we just watched happen with SpaceX. So don't ask me which one's going to make you rich. Ask yourself which story you actually believe. Drop a comment telling me which one you're watching closer, and hit subscribe, because when those S1s go public, I'll be breaking down the real numbers the second they drop.